So this was the worst animal communication session that I've ever done. I hated it. I hated talking to this animal. The only reason why I'm sharing about it is because I got the feedback from the mom and it makes a lot more sense. And I want to just make it 100% clear that I got permission to post about this session and use the cat's name and photo. So I connected with a cat named Dolly. Now I got halfway through this session and I was like, we gotta stop. It felt like, even like talking to her, it like didn't feel good. And the things she was saying, like just how she's sinister and this and like evil, and I'm like, okay, we're stopping. Like, I don't know what's going on here. We're stopping. I'm just gonna redo the whole session tomorrow. So the next day, reconnected with her, and it was literally the same thing. So I'm gonna read you some of the things that she said. So I had asked her if there was anything she wanted to talk about, and she told me that there's a fire burning inside. She said, there's a fire burning inside me. And I was like, okay, can you elaborate? And she said, I feel like a caged demon ready to be let out and pounce. And I'm like, okay, can you keep elaborating? And she said, there's good and evil in me. Like I said yesterday, I can be sinister. That was me you were talking to. I can be a bad cat sometimes, a very bad cat, and I can do bad things. So she was saying like, yeah, it was me you were talking to yesterday, because I thought, I didn't know. Like, I was like, what am I talking to? Like, I didn't know. But yeah, so she's like, yep, that was me. She told me that there's evilness in her. And I'm like, what makes you say that? And she said, because sometimes I like doing bad things. Sometimes doing bad things makes me happy, like starting shit. I like to pick on those smaller and weaker than me. I can be a bully, and I'm not apologetic for it. It's just who I am. She continued on. Some cats are evil. That's just their nature. They like causing trouble and wreaking havoc, terrorizing the neighbor. I am one of those. And I'm like, is there anything that your family can do to, like, I don't know, help this? And she said, a lobotomy. She said, no, not really. It's who I am and how I am supposed to be, and I am fine with every facet of my being. I really am. So I asked her how she felt about her mom. Now, this was the point when I stopped the previous day, because I asked her, how do you feel about your mom? And she said, she's a terrible person. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, we're done. I'm just starting over tomorrow. So again, I asked her how she felt about her mom. She said, my mom is disgusting. She needs to shower and take better care of herself. She makes bad choices sometimes. She needs to make better ones. I judge her for the choices she makes, but I judge all of them, all humans. I judge. You're despicable people, all of you. The choices you make, you're all disgusting. And I'm like, okay, can we like get something else about your mom? Like, give me something positive here. And she said, my mom is decent and kind, but she's also terrible and makes terrible decisions. And I'm like, terrible how? And she said, she hurts people in the choices she makes. Hurt people. And I said to her, I'm like, Dolly, this is outrageous. Like, all of this, like, this is outrageous. And she said, it's not outrageous. It's simply what it is. My mom is unhappy and she hurts people when she's hurt. And I said, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Do you like your mom? And she said, I love all my family and I hate them because I am sinister. And I told her, I said, like, I don't understand this. And I said, I hate talking to you. Like I did. I said, I honestly hate this session. And she said, well, sorry I'm bothering you so much. Sorry I'm so terrible to talk to. And I said, do you love your mom? And she said, yes. And I also hate her because I love and I hate equally. So the grandparents also lived there. So when I said, like, how do you feel about your grandparents? And she said, I would say my grandparents I like least. I judge them. They are fine. I really don't know what's wrong with me. And I don't know why I'm so judgmental. I don't know why I hate everyone. It's like permanent PMS. Now, she also had 2 cat siblings. So I asked how she felt about one of them, Sabrina, and she said, I hate Sabrina with every fiber of my being. And, like, she was telling me how she starts shit. She's a shit starter. And I'm like, that's not nice. And she said, I told you I'm evil, an angel and a demon. And I'm like, okay, what can your family do to, like, just help? Like, you guys live together. Like, what can help here? She said, give the kitten away, drop it at a fire department. I don't know. And I told her again, I said, I don't like talking to you, because it didn't feel good. Like, it did not feel good doing the session. Like, physically, it did not feel good. So I told her, I said, you know, I don't like talking to you. And she said, I don't like talking to you either. So, like, we're still talking about her like the kitten she hates. And I said, I'm like, you two live together. It's important that there's peace. And then what I heard in my head is a quote from Independence Day, where an alien uses a human to speak to another human. And he says, peace, no peace, which I will have play right now if I figure out how to do it. So, she says, I think they should get a dog. Just write that down, shut up, and move on. I've had about enough of this. You've taken up enough of my time. And she told me that, she's like, I just have an inner struggle with myself. I'm good and bad, an angel and a demon. There's destruction in me. I'm not perfect. I do love my family despite how I may sound, how I may talk, how I may act. So I'm like, okay, great. One positive thing out of this whole session. So, so the kitten came up again towards the end, and I'm like, but what makes you not like her? And she said, I told you, she doesn't belong here. She's not welcome. They didn't need any more. I'm unhappy she is here. And I'm like, this is really going to upset your humans. And she said, let it upset them then. I really don't care. I've had about enough of this conversation and you. I'm leaving you now. I hated talking to you, by the way, just so you know. And I'm like, Dolly, I wish this had gone differently. I really did. And she said, well, it went how it went and I'm leaving. Don't talk to me again. I don't like you. And I was like, Dolly, thank you for talking to me despite this. And she gave me the middle finger and then walked away. So I sat on this session like I didn't want to send it. How do I send this? What was I talking to? Like, this is crazy. What is this person gonna think? Okay, is this gonna be all over TikTok? Like I was scared. But I sent it to her with a huge disclaimer, and I was like, I don't know what this was. I'm very confused. This is what I got. I don't know what to say. So her mom emailed me. She said, I could hear how distraught you are over this, but this actually made me laugh out loud and gave me some clarity that I'm not going mad. Dolly's nickname is Demoncat. She said, I know she is different, borderline evil, but for the most part, she is well behaved with the exception of Sabrina. And she said that the shower part made her laugh because she's a nurse. She works permanent night shifts and she showers twice a day. But she said her job could also be her interpretation of me hurting people. She said she works on a medical surgical ward where there are a lot of post-op patients and sometimes palliative patients. So she can imagine how she smells, you know, when she comes home. She said, I do make some bad choices in life. I have a gambling addiction and sometimes I relapse and gamble. I also have bipolar. She told me she's medicated and stable, but she said she's been very depressed lately due to various things. She told me she'd never give up Dolly or Sabrina despite, you know, all the things. And, you know, she said, I did warn you on TikTok that you were in for a ride when you read my cat, but like, there's so many comments. I don't know whose TikTok is whose animal. She said, I'm sorry that you hated it, the session, but it genuinely made sense to me. She said, and the fact that she flipped you off when you left made me laugh so hard. Inappropriate and rude of her, yes, but it's very Australian of her to exit a conversation she isn't happy with by flipping someone off. So they're Australian. And so, like, I was shocked, honestly, when I read that, because I was so afraid to share this session. And I hated it so much. And her mom knows, like, I hated the session. I did not like it. I hated doing it. I hated talking to her. I hope I never have a session like this again, to be honest. And, you know, there are people who, I see comments about how people say, oh, I'm talking to a demon. Now, I don't believe in demons, okay? I don't believe in demons. But when I did this session, honestly, I was questioning it because it felt just weird and wrong. But like her mom said, you know, like, just like how there's some evil people, she thinks that there's some evil animals. I don't know. All I know is I hated talking to this cat hated talking to me, and I hope I never have one like this again.